That's why you shake them off. That's why you shake them off in practice right there. Got it one time. Had that fish bite yesterday, 3.5 pounder. All right, guys, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, Kyle Welcher here. We're gonna kind of give y'all a pre-spawn bass fishing tip, concept, just something to think about, however you want to word it. This is something I've thought about a lot over the years, and I don't really know how to articulate it, but there's a big difference in the pre-spawn between these extremely productive baits. One being a jig to flip around pre-spawn, and one being a vibrating jig to reel around pre-spawn. And obviously these look like the exact opposite styles of baits, but a lot of times they can catch similar fish or fish out of the exact same situation, exact same piece of cover, but there's times where I really want to just pick one up and go with it, or pick the other one up and go with it. And the biggest thing for me is identifying kind of the random bites. That's what makes a really good vibrating jig or chatterbait day to me, is if I'm skipping under the back post of docks in the pre-spawn and every single bite is coming within 6 inches of that post, well, I can just flip that jig up there and go extremely fast and have more confidence that I'm gonna land them and get more bites out of that exact same situation, because I feel like every fish that bites this is going to bite this, but every fish that bites the jig is not always going to bite the chatterbait. So for me, a lot of times it's about identifying those random bites. And sometimes in the pre-spawn, that could be some of your biggest fish. It's just whenever you're 25 feet off the bank and your rod just loads up way out in front of a seawall and kind of in the middle of nowhere. Those are a lot of times those big giant females that are sunning out in the middle of nowhere. And when you realize that they are going to bite that bait, that's whenever I just pick up that vibrating jig or that chatterbait and I just go. So that's kind of the thing that I'm thinking about all the time, is where are my bites coming from? And if they're coming from really close to a piece of cover every single time, I'm gonna wanna flip that jig, because I feel like I'm gonna catch more fish out of that cover. And if I'm starting to catch them randomly off of seawalls, out deep off of riprap, out the tip of boat docks, you know, if I can't really pinpoint it, the wind's blowing, anything like that, that's whenever I want to kind of use that vibrating jig. But it's just kind of a concept that I think about all the time, is how to catch the most fish. And sometimes it's by covering more water, and sometimes it's by covering the water that you're covering more efficiently, like with that jig. So the harder it is to pinpoint, the more I want to use that vibrating jig, and the easier it is to pinpoint, the more I want to go with the actual standard flipping jig. So it's just kind of a concept that I think about pre-spawn, is where your bites are coming from and identifying the random and understanding your most productive way to finish out the day.